What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and we're going to be going over the PGA BMW Championship. Hang on one second. I guess this is the semifinals, second to last event of the PGA playoffs. This past week, we got it down to 50 players, and I'm not sure, what did we get down to, 30 this week or something like that? In any case, from a DFS perspective, it's kind of a unique slate because you do have only 50 golfers. So you really have to, think about uniqueness and trying to avoid duplication, things like that in lineups. I still think that it's not going to be that difficult to get unique, just because it's not like UFC where even though you only have, you have 28 fighters to choose from, you have to pick one like in each fight. I think that 50 golfers, when there's no real correlation issues between them, I still think it's very, very easy to get unique lineups. So I'm not worried too much about that. And, Saber Sim does, whatever sim product you have, it does a pretty decent job of getting you as unique as you really need to be. What you're looking at right now are my projections for this tournament. And as usual, when I rank them by this Sheets value score here, or even by point per dollar or whatever, some of you are looking at this, you've said, well, where are the good guys? Where is Scheffler, where is Rory, and whatever. And whenever you have, for the uninitiated, whenever you have a tournament with no cut, you always have the lower priced guys being the best point per dollar plays and the best overall values. Just because, again, like, so much of the risk embedded in these, 6K golfers is the risk of missing the cut and being out of the final two rounds. Whenever you have a no-cut event, these 6K guys are just, all of them are really, really good values. And what then happens is you also then get these combinations where these 6K golfers get paired with the high-priced guys, because what are the problems with high-priced golfers? Well, that sometimes it's hard to get them in because the 6K guys that you'd have to play to get 13K golfers in have all this missed cut risk. But when there's no missed cut risk, then you could just feel free to jam them in. Thanks, Joanne. So that's why always these 6K guys look to be the best values. And it's also why the stars and scrubs lineup builds are just always, not always, but a good majority of the time are optimal. So I think that one of the edges that you can actually get in DFS is actually not fading that. In other words, I think that there's a lot of players out there that in the attempt to get different, the attempt to just be, just not be a wise guy, but just try to at least, I guess, to get different is the best way to describe it. They won't play these stars and scrubs lineups and say, you know what, screw Scheffler, Rory, whatever. I'll build all my lineups with 8K guys and not have to deal with these 6K guys. And they're just those types of lineups just really, even though they're low owned, they're really just drawing very, very thin in these no cut events. So yeah. So what ends up happening, the way you really play these is to get different among the tiers. Like if you have like a bunch of 6K guys and you could somehow find the one that's going to be okay but not as high owned, that's the way you kind of separate in these types of tournaments. So we will take a look at the projections, and then we're just going to go ahead and do a build and kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So when you sort these by Sheets value score, the guy you'll see at the top of the list is Jonathan Vegas, and he's a pretty healthy projection actually given his price at 11%. And then Michael Kim would be next. So, I mean, if you wanted, get just a guy to play, again, that's not really what I do here, but I mean, Michael Kim at 6K has a good projection, not that highly owned. I mean, he looks pretty good. Gerard, Cauley, all these guys look good. Ryan Fox at 6K. Kurt Kitayama at 21%. I mean, see, that's the type of thing that I'm inclined to fade. But again, I'm not going to fade it on purpose. I'll end up fading, I think, at the end of the day. I'm not sure, but these are the types of plays that come up sort of fishy. First of all, let me just make sure that everything adds. Yep, so this is the right ownership distribution, and you look at it, I mean, Scheffler 31%. I suspect it will be higher, but we'll make an ownership adjustment as we get closer to the end of tonight or first thing in the morning. But 31% seems awfully low, given all the things that I said about how you're supposed to build these lineups. Okay. What else can we glean from this? I mean, Rory and Fleetwood look about the same, with Fleetwood being a little bit lower owned, so that's something. Then you have Aberg, Schauffele, all these guys they're not really projecting any better, and yet they're getting owned a little bit more even. I mean, I would certainly play Fleetwood over any of these 310K guys if that means anything to you. Okay, so let's just go ahead, I guess. I mean, you could build, and we'll just see what we come up with here. All right, so let's just input my projections in here. And again, you could use mine, you could use Goldie's, you could use the SaberSim projections. I mean, I happen to kind of like mine. What I am going to do for the purpose of this, I am going to create my own custom fields. Can you speak to a lot of post-contest lineups that will show a negative pre-contest sim ROI? No, I really don't have much of an opinion on that. I don't know what else to say. That's just not my real skill set. I will say that there's a lot of biases involved in pre-contest and post-contest sims, just because again you're presuming that the projections that you're putting in are pure. You know, like it's saying, well, this is what they should have done, but that's because that's what I think these guys' projections should be. So I don't know. I don't have much of a comment on that. So let's you want to use our own ownerships for this one? Yeah, just the hell of it. So we're going to put in our own projections. And one thing you'll see, this is actually kind of interesting. We only need to do 5,000 minus for this tournament. What I noticed is that my projections are actually quite lower than SaberSim's. Just overall, like my entire scale is different. That's not too bad. I mean, as long as, again, you're operating under the same scale, you're not mixing apples and oranges, I think it's fine. But I'm sure it's very interesting to me. So the field that I've created here, this is the field that I'm going to presume that people play. So this actually makes sense. So instead of 31%, which is my ownership projection, it's actually 34% is going to be in this field that I create. So what we're going to do is instead of using SaberSim's contest fields for the lottery, I guess, or for anything flagship MME, we'll change that to the Sheets one. The rest we will keep the same though. And then we'll just build. You see, like almost, actually not all of them. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, look at all my projections. Like, see, this is my column, like all red. In other words, like SaberSim just thinks that this whole tournament is going to perform much higher than I do. So I'll double check that, but just for the fun of it, let's just build. We'll build 5,000 and see what we end up getting here. Let me just see something before I commit to this. Yeah, I'm comfortable with my numbers here. It just looks like SaberSim's is higher. I don't know what else to say. Okay, so now it's simulating the results of all my lineups, the 5,000 I've created against these various contest fields, which we've selected. That would be my contest field for the lottery and the SaberSim contest fields for the for the bigger buy-ins. And we'll just see what we get. I mean, I really don't make any changes after this, honestly. Because the other thing this is doing is it's diversifying my lineups based on what I'm playing in my whole portfolio. And again, why fight this? It's good technology. I mean, why fight this? So not to get too into this, but yeah, I actually am getting a bunch of Scheffler, Kurt Kitayama, Maverick McNeely. But again, like it's not that this is copping out here, but you could use my projections exactly the same and my same ownership, and based on what you're playing, you might get a completely different build because the portfolio diversifier, it's customized to what you're playing. Like I'm playing 150 in this, 150 in this, and a couple of these or whatever, but you might be playing a whole different portfolio of lineups. So that's what's kind of nice about this. Even from a content perspective, like I could show you this, and I can show you who I have, but that's not really relevant to who you should have, because your portfolio I would say by definition, it should be much different than mine. I just play different stuff, bigger than some of you, smaller than some of you, more lineups than some of you, less lineups than some of you. So that's what's, I think, the neatest thing also about this portfolio manager is people, I think, are going to be very wants to help, with this concept, because it's not like I'm really like impacting anybody else's ROI by properly diversifying my portfolio. I guess you could say that if I hold on one second. Hello, I'm in the middle of something. You need me? Okay, bye. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, I would utilize these tools. That's the best I can describe this. Let's take a look at FanDuel, and first look from a projection perspective. What would look good here? Very similar, right? Vegas, Kitayama, again, Michael Kim again. Now in FanDuel, you almost always get even more of a top-heavy build, because finishing position is really, really important. Let's take a look. Let's see how this looks. Upload projections, and then I just keep these offline. But if you're a TrueDFS member, you'll have this preloaded into the template. So Straka is out. Okay, so let's ignore him, and we'll use their ownerships for this. Same thing. I'm well below as far as just raw projection. See, I'm going to predict that if I was getting 40 on FanDuel of Scheffler, I'm going to predict I get like 65%. Because FanDuel, it almost always gives you those high-priced guys anyway. So given the fact that it's a no-cut event, I think you're going to even get more. So we'll take a look at it. Okay, diversifying. We've been playing 2 in the Monster this week. It's only 250 this week. Yeah, 88% Scheffler, and that's just the way it is. That's the best I can describe this. So I wouldn't fight it. And just kind of plow in there. But again, it diversified based on my portfolio, not anybody else's. Oh, that's the MLB. Hold on, let's upload to golf. And we should be good to go. All right, so again, almost all of the work as far as building golf lineups is done in the back end. In other words, actually in the front end, like getting your projections strong. And I think we do a very good job of that. Once you have that, you make a couple of decisions for SaberSim, and you should be good to go. That's pretty much all I have for the BMW Championship. Any questions, you could post them in our Discord channel.